because when you're a 4-time world champion, knock someone's spark out in front of 80,000 people, you don't bother about things like that. Well, you clearly do, because you're talking about it an awful lot during an interview segment when you're interviewing somebody else, but it's really about that, about being called out by Darren Till, isn't it, Carl? This is Carl Froch, who has nothing to prove at all in the boxing world. And as he said, you know, once I retired, I was offered fights like the Gennady Golovkin fight, and I don't have the desire. And if you don't have the desire, you shouldn't get back in the ring, because it's the hurt business. And he's right. That was absolutely right. However, Darren Till called him out immediately and called him a shithouse, and I don't think that, as he said, you don't call me a shithouse. I don't think that that Carl Froch appreciated that, and we know from his YouTube channel that he is always in the ring, and he's gym ready. Not in the ring, in the gym. He's gym ready. That's a different thing to being ring ready, but we know that he's often at it regarding his legacy. And as he keeps saying, that was 11 years ago, and I keep saying it's 11 years ago because he's saying, I won't get in the ring, except that it's good money. It's good, as he says, it's a Bunsen burner. I like that. That's very nice. He also is right that Darren Till doesn't. He's got balance. He can throw a punch, one punch. He's got one punch, but you've got to be careful what you're doing, Darren. I know this is the business of boxing, but calling out someone like Carl Froch is not really a good idea. I think he'd suffer if that match actually happened. More about whether it will in a minute. It's interesting from Carl Froch because he seems to be of the same mind as me, which is that, you know, influencer boxing is not legitimate boxing. This was the Misfits boxing fight, and as he said, he was surprised, pleasantly surprised, by the production, by the fans who were there. Got sun in your eyes here. By the fans who were there. There's a younger audience. KSI appeals to a younger audience, and maybe that is why Misfits boxing is still around, and why influencer boxing is still around. Not Misfits boxing, but influencer boxing is still around. But they do need those big names like Carl Froch. And if I were KSI, I'd be straight to Froch to say, how's the fight going to happen then? Will it happen? Yes, it will. Why? Because Carl Froch will constantly be called, not by me, but by others, a shithouse the longer he leaves it. So expect that to happen. I'm calling it now. And that's what Misfits boxing and influencer boxing needs. Meat for their fights with big names. Carl Froch has certainly got one of those. Ta-ta.